Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of November 19th. As always, let's get started by thanking the Patreon subscribers. We have Mario Casillas, Rhett Pally Rocks, Nick Rada, and Peter Burnham. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it very, very, very much. All right, let's hop in and talk about what's going on in game this week. A little bit of stuff from last week, and yeah, some big secret finding stuff that's happening today. So let's go ahead and just go through maybe more of the more boring stuff. We have time walking dungeon event. Of course, this is kind of going on during the whole anniversary. I was wrong about the whole like what time walking you do per week or whatever. So I have no idea. I kind of speculated this would be like Wrath of the Lich King, but I'm pretty sure I was still getting like Dire Maul and stuff. So maybe it is still just the classic ones. So if so, that's cool. I actually enjoy those a lot. But we have classic time walking going on. We have battleground bonus event going on if you do want to get honor on a character. We also have Deep Wind Dunk for the PvP brawl. And then later in the week we will have the beginning of Pilgrim's Bounty as we get closer to the American holiday Thanksgiving. That's what Pilgrim's Bounty is kind of symbolizes or whatever, and we're getting closer and closer to that. And so that'll be starting at the end of this week on Sunday. So that's kind of like the in-game stuff going on. I think first of all, let's talk about the Warcraft Direct from last week. So in last week's video, I forgot to even mention the Warcraft Direct. We talked about a lot of other things in last week's video, and I completely forgot about the Warcraft Direct coming out, which was a huge error on my part, to be honest. A lot of cool stuff announced. Nothing like earth-shattering for retail, except for probably the biggest thing. And while it's bigger for casual players, like I'll still enjoy doing it, and that's player housing is coming to World of Warcraft. This seems like it's going to be coming maybe at the end of next year, so in about a year, or at the very beginning of the year after that. But somewhere around a year from now appears to be when the player housing is going to be coming out based on the timeline, the roadmap. They're probably going to try to ship it out towards the end of the expansion. So why? So we can test it out, get all the bugs out of the way, and that way when the expansion launches, a few months after that way it can be like really good on the expansion launch, right? And they kind of did this with warbands as well, like trying to implement warbands and everything, and not in they do stuff like this all the time. They do some stuff with dungeons, like testing stuff out. They'll try to do that, and it makes a lot of sense to do that, honestly, because those of us who play for the entire expansion are still playing at the end. I mean, we're pretty diehard, because a lot of people get bored easier than what some WoW players do, and so we'll gladly test it out just to see what it's like. And so the player housing thing looks pretty cool. My guess for the housing, the way it'll work in World of Warcraft is, especially because they kind of teased it with like a Hearthstone looking thing, each person's going to have their own, it's almost like a garrison. It's going to be similar to a garrison, okay, in that it's going to be instanced, right? You'll probably maybe be able to go to other people's garrisons if you're in their group, or if you're synced or something like that. And who knows how many choices you'll have, but I'm guessing you get to choose based on your faction, would be my guess. Like maybe what your house looks like. Is it, so on Alliance, is it human? Is it dwarven? Is it night elf? Is it gnomish? Like these could be some options for your housing. Obviously I don't know this for sure. This is all speculation. It might even be more bare bones than that when it first comes out. Of course, that would be something that would be very intelligent to add at some point. Would be that. As far as like we have to purchase your housing, maybe it'll be a gold sink or something like that. I can't imagine it'd be too big of a gold sink though, because this is something they're going to want all the players to do, and it's going to be something talked about when the next expansion launches as like a, hey, come back to WoW, we have housing now. But it's a big deal to a lot of the players. Probably like over half the player base is probably very excited about this. I would say, and it's not so much like I think it's cool, but I'm not like super excited about it. But I can still acknowledge it'll be cool, especially if I can make my player housing look like a dwarven home in like from like Ironforge or something, right? If I can do that, and then like also just have like cool trophies of stuff I've done throughout the years in there, I think that'd be pretty cool. I think it's important to me, at least, that you don't have like auction houses and banks and stuff in there. That way people are still in the city. but your house should be kind of useful in some way as well. So maybe there's something you can do from your house. But yeah, it's a big deal to a lot of people, so it would be dumb for me not to talk about it, even if it's not the biggest deal to me. Next thing to talk about is today should be the day that the secret hunting continues for the big WoW secret going on. So I did a video about that. Right now there's just one step. We happen to find it. It might not even be the first step. It could just be a step that's already in the game, but you need this other step to do that step. And then this key needs to be combined with something. So then you're locked from doing any future steps. So we could be on step 2 or 3, but we can't get to 4 without doing 1 or 2. And so that's the mindset I want people to be in. But it's also possible that this was step 1 and it was time gated for some reason, even though everything else is just releasing today. And so we'll see what that is. I'm sure everyone's going to be hunting for this thing. For me, it's going to be a little bit harder. I have raid that night as well. I have other stuff I have to do during the day, so I might get pretty far behind. But hopefully, it's not something that's just solved in one day. And I will just be picking up wherever everyone else in the community is at and trying to go from there. I always try to solve them by myself if I can, but that sometimes that can be quite hard. Obviously, I've never been able to solve a big secret on my own, although I have solved certain steps of secrets on my own. Notably, the hive mind secret, I was actually one of the first people to get that one done. I was very active on that one and was, I was not the first by any means, but probably in the first 100, 200, whatever, few hundred, let's just say, people to get that one done. And that was really cool. So yeah, that big secret's coming out today. Sorry, I kind of blanked there. And I'm super, super excited about it. I will be playing even more World of Warcraft this week because I'm going to be trying to solve that thing until it's solved, outside of raid time and obviously all my real life obligations as well. But that'll be super exciting this week. We are coming up. So we are coming up. We can kind of guess some of the patches and stuff, right? So we know that the patch coming with the ring and the new island or whatever is going to be on December 17th. So we're about a month away from there. And from there on, we can kind of deduce that the patch for 11.1 will probably be February 25th. So the end of February. That's probably where that's going to be. So we have a few months left of this patch where we're at now. The first season, I should say, of the game. And hopefully the secret fighting thing's cool. But hopefully the 11.07 patch is cool and can kind of get us there to the end of February. That's some other interesting, dates to keep an eye on. Maybe you don't like to play that much, except for at the beginning of a season, and in which case you have probably till around the end of February, probably when the Plunder Storm is ending. That's when it's going to be coming out. So it's trying to give you things to do as you carry on to the next thing, and that's kind of their goal, right? They want to give people stuff to do, but they don't want the stuff to be mandatory, the extra stuff. For myself, my guild was managed to get down Kaiveza. We got some very, very early prog on Silken Court. So looking forward to getting there and working on Silken Court. Obviously with this raid damage buff and healing buff or whatever that you get every 2 weeks. It's making progress a lot cleaner, honestly, which I figured it would, right? The goal for me would be to reduce the time of the world 1000th ranked guild, kind of like ours. On how much time we need to put into the raid, because it's just harder when you only raid 6 hours a week. When you're comparing yourself against guilds that raid 9 hours a week or 12 hours a week. 12 is a very common number for cutting edge, and we're half of that. Now there are 6-hour guilds that are better than us, for sure, but we are one of the best at 6 hours, and reducing the time is, I welcome it. Some people are a little annoyed because it makes the fights a little bit more trivial by the time we kill them. So we pretty much kill Brewtwister in the same way as would be designed, and we actually pretty much killed Kaiveza in the same way designed as well, because we don't have perfect play. We have some people dead and stuff like that. So so far all of our kills have been pretty meaningful or whatever. They felt right, but who knows by the time Silken Court could get nerfed again. By the time we kill Silken Court, maybe it'll be extremely easy or something like that. And they already did pretty large nerfs to Queen Ansarek on Mythic. So that could be nerfed even more. In which case, plus the damage buff and everything. Who knows how much easier that fight will be by the time we get there. I'm super excited about that, and looking forward to practicing Silken Court this week. Despite that, part of me will be wishing I'm doing the secret finding, but I'll be having fun doing that nonetheless. Is there anything else? I did a video on the dungeon event, or not the dungeon event, I'm sorry. The dungeons coming out for next season, that was announced as well. We have the normal dungeons. You can watch the video for more of a breakdown. We have the normal dungeons from the War Within that we haven't done yet. We have the new Goblin dungeon. We have Motherlode. We have Theater of Pain, and we have Mechagon Workshop as the dungeons for next season. Did a video going over each of those, my thoughts on each of them. Positives, negatives, all that kind of stuff if you want to watch that. And yeah, I hopefully I'm not missing something, since I missed talking about the Warcraft Direct last week. Hopefully that's it. So we'll call it there for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. Other than that, everybody, have a good one.